I feel like stewardship is always on the to-do list, but it's never on the top of the to-do list for organizations. Can you speak to that a little bit? Do you feel like you guys have coached organizations or fundraisers of how do you prioritize stewardship?
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly a lot of the things that we're talking about. So we often help organizations create what we call a donor communications plan, where we're looking at the year and looking at what are the big projects you need to take on, where are we getting insights from our donors, using the data, using the actions people take in addition to what they tell us in a survey or an interview to make informed decisions and think about the year of communications so that there needs to be a steady drumbeat that people are hearing from you. And of course, there are communications campaign moments where, they're going to hear from you a lot at end of year, but are they also hearing from you in January with a thank you for here's what the campaign did. Here's what we accomplished together. Here's what we're doing in the year ahead. I think those are the pieces that are important to remember is to let folks know what you're up to year round, not just year end.
Yeah. And we could even dive into the segmentation piece of that too, right? Of you're not saying the same thing to everybody, or you probably shouldn't be, but you should be saying, here's from a major donor's perspective, they don't get the mass email, they get the phone call or the coffee versus a
Or they
mid-level.
might. I mean, some
Yeah.
organizations will keep their major donors, unless the major donor has requested, on the email list to get everything, but then they get the extra phone call, message, etc. I do think there are also things that we can think about in terms of how we treat our major donors that we can look at how can we bring that into all of our donor communications. So for some organizations, only major donors get an impact report or learn about what you've been doing. Well, why not send a simpler version to everybody? Because again, the more people understand what you do and what you're about, the more likely they will be to give to you, to raise money for you, to recommend others to give to you. So I think it's important that we're not just only thinking about major donors. We're thinking about all supporters and potential supporters.
Yeah. And I loved what you talked about with the monthly giving of giving them a name, which is the mid-level donor that sometimes gets overlooked, but actually giving them like a sub brand where they become the core piece of like if you're giving them to us consistently, like you are important.
Mhm,
And that's a different communication than the major donor or the
Right.
non-recurring donor.
Yeah, that can make somebody feel like they belong to a community. Again, it
Yeah.
depends on why, for depending on your mission and your work, some of these things make more sense than others. But if donors are looking for a community of other supporters or to be in community with you as an organization, having a sub brand can be helpful. The question of how different that brand is from your primary brand, I wouldn't go too far. You want it to still feel like they're connected to you. You don't want to build up so much recognition for something else that then they actually forget it's part of this other organization. So it's the kind of thing you have to be really mindful of.
All right, Farah, I always end with what I call the tactical takeaway, a question that's very practical for fundraisers today. So, Farah, what is one thing that every fundraiser should do today that you believe matters most?
Oof, high pressure. Um, I don't know if it matters the most, but I'm going to give a tactical tip that I often recommend when I'm doing fundraising trainings and workshops, which is be a secret shopper to your own giving. Make a donation to your organization from a non-work account, like your own Gmail account, from your best friend, your partner's account. Make a gift online, through texting, through the mail, whatever ways that the organization is asking for money, and see the kind of ways that you're treated. Sometimes I'll do that and change my name or my last name or use a special email address. What are you seeing? How often are you communicated with? Because sometimes I have found that the acknowledgement you get from joining, first of all, you don't hear from anything when you join the list, or you join the list and the email comes from someone who no longer works at the organization, or it is the generic email that MailChimp set up when you set up your email, whatever it may be. So I think testing your own forms of communications from when you make a gift and seeing what that's like from your donor's eyes can be very helpful.
That's so good.